Well, I hate to say it, but this could be the end of restaurants as we know it. Today I want to explain what's going on, what I've been seeing, but what many of you have been seeing as well. And no, this is not just in the great state of California, but all across the US as well. What is going on inside of restaurants is likely going to cause many of them to close in the near future. So I'm going to break all this down in today's video. I do ask one thing, takes 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates, and now let's begin. So what is going on with restaurants? And I'm not talking about your Olive Gardens and your, well, whatever's left of Red Lobster, but what is going on with all these smaller restaurants, right? These very local restaurants. Well, here's what we're seeing. Restaurants have had a very difficult time. They've had a difficult time because wages have been going up. But in the restaurant industry, many waitresses, waiters, they're getting paid a very small wage. And then they subsidize that with tips. Well, here's the issue. Many people don't want to work on tips. That's not what they want. Tips should be an addition to what they're getting. But that's not how it works. Now, because of that, many people have left the industry. Many people have decided they don't want to work in the restaurant business anymore. They are done. Okay. So that means there's less people that they can actually call on. Less waiters and waitresses. Now the owners have to jump in and start serving food, right? Making meals, right? Doing the bookkeeping, all that stuff. But here's where things get interesting. Now eventually, you can't lay off any more people. You can't increase prices on your menu anymore because customers aren't coming in. So at this time, and this is why this is a very difficult time, we saw this back in 2008 as well, but this is an extremely difficult time because customers are trying to hold on to as much money as possible. They don't want to spend it. They don't want to overspend on food. They'll just cook at home. So in order for you to get customers in, you got to bring prices down. You got to have a daily special. You got to do something. Okay? But this is where it goes from bad to worse. Customers come in, all excited to eat at your restaurant, but then they get their meal. The food's good. It's great. But the portion size is smaller than what they expected. That's an issue. Just recently, I went to a restaurant. I go to restaurants, quite often, but I went to a restaurant and it was about $20 to $22 a plate. This is for lunch, and went in. $22 isn't a excessive amount of money, but went in. The portions were massive. I had to take some home because it was so big. This was well worth it to me. Just recently, I went into another restaurant. I'm not saying which ones these are, but went into another restaurant. This restaurant charged about $15 to $18 a plate, and again, for lunch. And the portion sizes were very small, extremely small. It looked like a kid's menu. I didn't order off the kids menu, but this is what we're seeing. Look at this though. Even Chipotle's CEO, addressed their criticism that they faced recently and said that they're going to recoach restaurants on proper portion sizes. You may see on TikTok all the time where people go into a Chipotle and, oh, can I get, I want a bowl. Can I get white rice? And the person takes a little half scoop, puts it in the bowl. Okay, what kind of, you want pinto beans or whatever, black beans? Yeah, want those? Okay, yeah, put a little half scoop. And then, okay, how much, what kind of meat would you like? What's your protein or whatever? Let me get some of that chicken. And okay, you take the chicken, little half scoop, put it in the bowl. And there's just a little bit. Okay, it could probably fit in a cup. And the customer walks out like, nope, we're not doing this today. And leaves. That's what's happening. But it's not just in Chipotle. This is in restaurants where you've sat down, you've probably ordered a drink, you've ordered maybe an appetizer, you ordered your meal, right? You're already in the whole thing 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. You're probably not going anywhere now, so your meal comes out and it's smaller than what you expected. Guess what's going to happen? You think you're just going to get up and leave? Not when you've been there for 20 minutes. No. Probably gonna eat your meal, complain to your spouse about it, a friend, like, man, this is a joke. But then what happens the next time you're hungry? You think you go into that restaurant? No. So, and this is part of the problem. Restaurants are trying to save money. They're trying to not increase prices for your sake as a customer. But by not increasing prices, the issue is now portion sizes are smaller. Maybe the ingredient quality is not as good, right? Maybe it's not as fresh. All these things matter. So now the customer experience is pretty much down the drain. And so you think they come back the next time? No. They go somewhere else. Maybe they don't go to a fine dining restaurant. Maybe they go to McDonald's, because McDonald's, at least they know, yep, I'm going to get a Big Mac. That's what it's going to be. This is the cost. Get a drink, fries, and a Big Mac for $18. Okay. That's what we're going to see. And this is why I'm bringing this to your attention today, because restaurants, this could be the end of many of these restaurants. If they don't play it right, they could be screwed. Now, here's the last thing I want to just bring to your attention. For many of these smaller restaurants, locally owned ones, that might be it. So not only is that restaurant going to go out of business, the place that you love going to is going to be over. You're going to see people get laid off. They're not going to have a job because the business is going to close. Not only is the business going to close, now that building will be vacant. That building isn't just going to be vacant, but the city isn't going to get their taxes, right? That if the landlord, the owner of that building, maybe it wasn't the owner of the restaurant, maybe they're not going to get paid. Now that building's sitting vacant, now they can't pay the building. Maybe it goes to foreclosure. Who knows, right? And this is that spiral that happens. That now this downward spiral, things are going to go from bad to worse. It's kind of what we're expecting. But again, I bring this to your attention because many people don't look at it this way. And I talked to a very good friend of mine just recently. And we talked for about an hour, maybe a little more than that, just about this situation. What we are currently facing. What I remember back from 2007, 2008. Right? What happened during the pandemic? What can we learn from this? How can we get through this? And I know a lot of people were saying, oh, the U.S. isn't going to end up in a recession. The problem is it's looking more and more likely that we do end up in a recession. That the Federal Reserve deciding to cut rates by maybe 25 or 50 basis points might not be enough to keep us away from a recession. So because of that, I'm bringing this to your attention so you understand maybe it's not the right time to go into a restaurant and spend money that you don't have to get a small portion size. Maybe you save your money. But again, that's on you. So I will leave you with that. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys on the next one.